And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I can usually tell from the name of a game if it's good or not sometimes. Sometimes you hear the name and you're like, yep, not a good game. And that is definitely my opinion when I saw this Kill the Unicorns. Now, I'm going to stop here right now, even though you're becoming one of the Queendom characters trying to catch the unicorns. I do want to say, even though it's called Kill the Unicorns, there's no blood and no gore in this game, and you are really just capturing the unicorns and turning them over to the gnomes, and what the gnomes does with them is up to them. It's a secret. I'm sure they treat them well, and they go to unicorn heaven. Anyhow, this game is an up to 6-player game in which players are going to be basically bidding on unicorns and then trying to get different sets of unicorns to score points. Let me show you how it works. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to pick their character: the knight, the shaman, the wizard, the bard, the princess, or the huntress. You can get them randomly too. And then each of these characters, let's say I pick the knight, they come with some scheme cards, with 8 of them. You're going to shuffle these and put them face down in front of you. And then a bunch of cards here that you're going to use to show how much you want to capture unicorns that are going to range from 0 to 4. Each player is also going to get a starting unicorn. So, I got this unicorn, which is that even real? But it is a yellow unicorn because that matters at the end of the game for scoring. So each player is going to get some of these. Unicorns can be worth points. That's what these stars are in the corner for. But these are also not a color, or you might get one of the colored ones. Each round of the game, and there's 4 rounds of the game, is done the same way. You're going to turn over the top 4 cards here from the deck. So you can see I got a yellow and a blue one that are worth 2 stars, a green one which does not really look like a unicorn here, worth no points, and then this one that's not any color, but it's worth 4 points. Each player is then going to draw 2 cards from their scheme pile, and you're going to pick one of these cards, and in turn order, you're going to play it face above or below each of the unicorns. So each unicorn can have multiple cards played on it, up to 2 total. Once everyone is done with that, players are then going to bid on each of these to see if they're going to win it. And what will happen is whoever's the starting player will pick 1, 2, or 3 cards. Maybe I'll pick 3 cards and bid these. Once you bid cards, you're not going to be able to use them again. And any cards you've left over after all 4 auctions, you're going to use to go to the store here. So you have to kind of keep track of which cards you're going to use. So if I say 3, every other character has to play 3 or pass. If I pass for any reason, then the starting token goes to the next person. So once everyone has played their cards, let's say it's a 3-player game here, and these 3 characters have played cards. We got 5 to 4 to 1. So in this case, this player is the winner. Now, if, however, the blue player had also played 5, if there's ever a tie, they cancel out, and the second highest is the winner. And if everyone ties, then the unicorn just runs away. So you win each unicorn as you come across them by doing these auctions. After you win, though, we'll turn over the top one. This one says Unicorn Fart. Discard this unicorn and replace it with the one from the top of the deck. So you didn't win that unicorn, you actually won that one, which is the same thing. This one here says the hunted unicorn card is switched with the next one in line. If this is the last unicorn card of the round, it's discarded. So you're not getting that one, you're actually getting this one. And the blue player says this counts as 2 unicorns of its color at the end of the game. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So maybe I went for this one knowing I was about to switch them, so I bid a lot on it, and now I have this 4. After all 4 unicorns are auctioned off, players can then in turn order go here, where you can buy a fake horn for 3, which just adds 2 to a unicorn. You can go here to the unicorn butcher shop and just take one of these tokens that's worth 1, 2, or 3 points. You can go to cotton candy and change the color of a unicorn. So like I said, this one here is now a tunicorn, and it's not a color at all, but now I can make it green, so it counts as a green unicorn. And it's the same thing, fairy dust. It changes the color of a unicorn, but also makes it worth 2 more. After 4 rounds, and it's easy to keep track of rounds because you'll be out of scheme cards. You draw 2 each round, discard 1, and play 1. Then players are going to do final scoring, add up all their unicorns. Plus, if you have 2 of the same color, you get 2 points. Up to 5 of the same color, 12 points. 1 of all 4 colors, 8 points. And if you ever get 2 of all 4 colors, you instantly win the game. Although I've yet to see that happen. Players also have a special ability that they can use over the course of the game. So like, for example, the Bard, once per round, before hunt, he can discard a hunt card from his hand and make the player of his choice pass this hunt. I guess he sings them to sleep. Or the Princess can switch one scheme card of her choice with another one, or with an unoccupied space. And so each of them has these special abilities. And that is pretty much how you play. I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the box. You gotta slide all the cards in here like this, and it's not even using all the space here. This insert is kind of just, look at that, it's a big waste. I mean, I think it's supposed to look neat, but I just found it to be a bigger pain than not. Now, that's the only thing I don't like. I really like the art here. It's silly, it's almost Adventure Time-esque style here. There's way more pigs masquerading as unicorns, as you might see. That one ain't gonna last long. But I really like the art. It's silly, it's fun, it's a little irreverent, and it's not nearly as gross as you might think. In fact, the grossest thing in the game would be this unicorn butcher shop, which even then, that's not too bad, right? You know, this looks a little, you know, let's not think about it too much. The actual cards themselves are pretty clear in what they do. Again, the characters look really cool. They have different art for each of the cards. I mean, there's a lot of art in this game, and the card quality is pretty well done. I like that there's a scoring card that explains how it works. And the rule book's really well done, telling you about the character powers, telling you how to play without character powers or the scheme decks and FAQ, and how the different characters work and scheme cards work. And I was just very impressed. Other than the box, I'm not a big fan of the box, but other than the box, I like all the components for this. I have to say here, I was off base on my initial thoughts of the game. Even when I started going through it, I thought, this doesn't seem too bad. And in fact, I enjoyed it. Now, part of it is I enjoyed the wonky, silly theme and the pictures and the cards. And it has a look of a Munchkin-style game, but there's actually some pretty good strategy. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a good deal of chaos. And there's a few minor rules things. Like, for example, you put out 4 unicorns each round, and you're auctioning off 16 unicorns over the course of the game. Why are you only auctioning off 4 in a 6-player game? It seems like you would want to auction off more if you're playing with more players. So I think the game scales better, actually, with fewer players. But I like the idea of this. It says 3 is the minimum number of players. It feels like you could almost play it with 2, but 3 is actually a really good number with this, 3 or 4. And just the idea of playing these silly effects on stuff. But yes, that's chaotic, but I can see you put an effect on that unicorn. And then I see you're not really bidding on it. So that effect must not be that good, so I'm not going to bid on it either. Or you put 1 card, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want that. But then you put a high card down because you did want that, and you wanted me to think that it wasn't that good of an effect. That sort of thing works well. The different scheme cards are mostly the same. There's some few minor differences between the characters, and I like them a lot. The player powers are a little bit more wonky, and I would prefer to play without the player powers. And in fact, you could play without the player powers and the scheme powers. The rules give you, the means to do that, and the game still works. The idea of bidding and forcing other characters to play 3 cards. You could play your zeros maybe, even if you don't want it, just so that you have some, just so that you're in the auction. It works. It's hard. I'm like trying to talk about the game, and there's so many different pieces to it. I like the auctions. I like the fact that if you tie for the auction, second place wins it. I do like the scheme cards, even though they're chaotic. You can see who put what where. I love the artwork, and I think the theme is fun. I like the cards at the end that you don't use the auction. You can then buy upgrades and stuff from the different black market cards, and it just all comes together in a slightly unpolished game. It works well, and it feels a little bit mass market, and there might be even too many mechanisms for someone who's new to the hobby. It might be too overwhelming. But at the end of the day, I guess I just find it a little charming. It's just entertaining. It surprised me with how much I enjoyed this game. My kids, my one daughter, she sat down to play it and she said, I hate the game already because it's called Kill the Unicorns and she loves unicorns. But she instantly asked to play it again because that theme didn't even register with her there. You were just capturing unicorns, who cares? And it was fun, and she was collecting unicorns that she liked, and in her mind, she wasn't killing the unicorns at all. It works well with kids, works well with families, works well in a casual setting, but also offers some pretty good, interesting mechanisms. Nothing brand new, nothing I haven't seen before, but it comes together in a tight little package, or at least a slightly untidy little package that's Kill the Unicorns. Dice Tower Judgment approved.